Hi everybody, I'm Yang. Welcome to Tea House, China Radio International's online video talk show. You can watch our program online at www.crienglish.com and also enjoy Tea House via iPad. To do this, press CRI video and the teapot button down here. Got it? Today, we'll have a cup of tea with Barbara Hose, an architect from Switzerland. Hi, Barbara. Welcome to our program. Please introduce yourself first.
My name is Barbara Hose. I'm an architect and I'm living in Switzerland, working in Switzerland. Our firm is working in a very wide field of architecture, so we are doing from exhibition design, started with small-scale projects over to architecture and large-scale projects like urban design projects. And we work in a very international field, so we work mostly in Europe, but we are lucky now also to have a project in China and Beijing.
And today we want to bring you some Chinese elements and inspiration. And I prepared Chinese tea for you. This year marks the 70th anniversary of China Radio International. What will you say to CRI?
Well, I hope that you get a lot of international visitors on your website or
I know that you came to Beijing to attend the first Beijing International Triennial. What is the theme of it?
International Triennial is called RAN or Good Design. So the exhibition is built up of 5 parts. We're doing one part which is called Good Guys. So we are interested in presenting not only the objects, but the designer which is creating these fabulous objects. Because we believe that designers have a very big impact on our world, and they should have the possibility to show that to a very wide public.
What the main information does the Good Guy exhibition want to convey to the audience?
We want to convey that creativity is a very important part of our life. So it is about the design we are addressing is about sustainable ideas. It's about fair trade. It's about recycling materials. It's about handcrafted production, and we believe also that it's about the idea of individualized design. So we want to alert that there is another option to really the big series of standard design is through creativity of each designers and the invention, the power of invention, to really create new ideas and more future-oriented ideas.
Oh, I can't wait to see them. And please enjoy a cup of tea and then show us around.
So our idea was to not only look at design objects, at the design pieces, but also at the people behind who are designing them, and why do they design it in the way? What's their perception of the world, and what's their philosophy, and what's their future belief, right? How our world should be.
And what inspired them to do this?
Exactly. So we have a theme which is called the Good Guy. So basically the people behind the object, and we are not showing in that sense a lot of products which you know already, but there is a lot of very experimental products, or products which haven't gone to production but are prototypes still, right? Or our first tries, or we have very small series which are handcrafted only. So we want to be able to show tendencies, and also themes which are relevant for the future in design.
How many work have we brought here?
400 pieces.
How many artists?
There are 45 designers which we're showing in this space.
Can you pick some of the most impressive one and explain the story behind it?
So we have the idea of these people you see here is they all work on either fair trade production, so they work on recycling material which is useless, on transforming existing products into something new, or on adding something which has nothing to do with the functionality. Big images on the wall. This is all like 3 architectural offices, Chinese one, all of them, because we believe that the Chinese architecture is very strong, right? And they are really competing on an international level. So, and then we also selected projects which are trying to be very careful with its surrounding. So, for example, that project is by MAD, a very famous office here in Beijing. This is a hutong project, so they tried to use the existing structure of the hutongs and add on, the toilets and bathrooms and kitchen, which did not exist so far, in this silver blob, right? The silver shape. And so the nice thing is, it's not about rebuilding traditional, forms or, making copies of what used to be nice, a few 100 years ago, but really adding something and transforming it into something new.
Which story behind the scene that touched you most?
We're looking for inspiration work of designers where they really try to work with our problems or challenges we have, on our globe, altogether, in terms of, like I said, fair trade, in terms of how to use human resources, how to, how to work with tradition, with its local culture also. So I think that's the most touching, is how can a design piece become you can have a very strong relationship to design objects, right? And it becomes part of your life almost. We believe that these designers here are working in such a direction, right? They're trying to be innovative, even with not so much money, to create something which has an added value.
And what's your understanding of tradition and contemporary art?
Well, tradition is if you go back in the history, and if you look where are your roots, or what culture comes from the last 100 of years, right? And contemporary is where we are now, but even looking to the future, like how do we live, how do we communicate today, right? Like we have an internet and we have a global network, so it changes a lot of our perception. So we're not the same than 100 years ago. So I think that's something one has to bring together, something which is locally bounded but globally understood.
I know one of the themes of your Good Guy is about the relationship between regionalization and globalization.
Right.
Yeah. How do you think the work can demonstrate this theme?
I think the interesting thing is that it's always fragments, right, which we can show, but they all show a bit of their cultural background. For example, this chair here, which is from a famous designer, is made out of wool, sheep wool. So the story behind this chair is again a different story, because it's totally ecological and it's done by wool, like you do a pullover, right? So it's really pressed wool. Big installation with chopsticks. These objects integrated, and you see it's like it is an abstract form of a dragon. It's lying there, like a sleeping dragon, and so it's also for us something with how we work, in our spatial perception, but that people can walk around these objects and start to discover it, all different things. And this is one of my favorite pieces. So she's from Holland, from the Netherlands. She also collects chairs with broken legs. And when she finds this chest with broken legs, she takes the leg away, or the part of the leg away, and replaces it by a glazed object. And I think this shows very much the philosophy of what we want to transport with our exhibition. This is like, with that element, you're not sure, can you still sit on it? Right? So it questions the functionality of an object like that, because the chair is to sit on, right? And then also you realize, but if I can't sit on it, what is it then? So is it still something to use, or is it a piece of art, right? And then you realize that they're all unique pieces. There's not one that's the same, because they're not set. Two chairs have broken their leg in the same position. So it comes all together, right? I think very symbolic.
Okay, Barbara, welcome back. Which part of Chinese culture that shocked you most?
I haven't seen so much of China, I must admit. I was lucky to be several times now in Beijing. I think what was to me quite shocking was the idea of how fast the city grew over the last years, and the problems and challenges you have to face with such a dynamic growth of a city. I think there's a big danger in these big cities, and the danger of losing the quality of living here and working here and staying in cities. So I think that's something which is really important to address, is that one pays attention to the city development and to be able to create environments which are worth living and which also are bound to the human scale, for people to live in and to create neighborhoods which are giving identity back to. Our profession is about planning and constructing buildings, and also about helping to create ideas and visions for future living or future cities. And I think the role of the architecture is really to try to understand the needs of the future. So not about, it's not about the star architects building, the big pieces of architecture, but it's really about this understanding of the needs and trying to find a built answer for that.
Which part of artwork that touched you most at the bottom of your heart?
If I bound it to Beijing, I was very much touched by the hotel areas I walked through. So I thought there's so much quality and so much culture. So it's not modern art, but it's about art in a translated sense.
What made you to make the decision to become an architect?
Well, I didn't plan to become an architect, but I realized what I really find fascinating was the complexity architecture brings with it. So it's really something which is for people, but it affects not only an individual people, but it's also about the question of societies and how they live together. So, and then it's also about creating, wonderful spaces, create with material spaces, with light spaces, color. And it's a very open field, and our understanding, or my understanding of architecture, is not bound to just the building, but also to all kinds of spaces and installations. So I think it is what we live in. Even if it's an outside space in the street, it's a space which is built with its proportion, its texture, and its atmosphere. So that's what I really appreciate. It's what we can do is as architects is really to create an environment where people can meet, where people can feel comfortable, and where people are at home.
Mm-hmm. And how many works do you do every year?
Well, we have a company with about 40 people, and we do about 20 to 30 projects a year, from large-scale projects like urban planning to exhibitions, very small-scale projects, very fast projects. So the exhibitions are more our experimental field, right? The exhibitions are there to try things, to see how spaces work, and with exhibitions you always get an intermediate reaction by the public. They tell you if they like it or not. While architecture is much more difficult, it's more, you have politics involved, you have a lot of money involved, so it's a different process, but we can learn from the exhibitions and use that for our architecture project very much.
What is the money-making process in your industry?
We are paid for our design, right? So I think it depends, right? The projects where you basically earn money because you find very fast a good idea, and others where it's more difficult to find a good idea. But at the end, what is paid is our creativity, our ideas.
Okay, thank you. Please enjoy another cup of tea. Okay, Barbara, welcome back. What are the greatest challenges when attempting to demonstrate a cross-cultural theme through your design work?
They are always challenging. One big challenge is the language, right? So, being born in Switzerland, and I'm used to several languages because we're such a small country and we speak 4 languages. So I know a bit of the Babylon of languages. But with other countries like China, it's a big handicap, right? So you really need people who can help to communicate. But besides that, it's really nice to meet other cultures, to see differences also in our living, but also similarities. And I think it's very inspiring, and it's absolutely needed to meet different people in this world and collaborate, because it's always being creative. It's always a question, where do you take your ideas from? And one very important element is to meet different people and different cultures.
How do you view your Chinese counterparts?
We met so many interesting people here in Beijing, so many really great designers, and we had many good talks. I think it's really important that there is a platform where we can Chinese design transported to Europe or to the Western world.
In which ways do you think that you can collaborate with one another to produce more impressive work that can be accepted by international art enthusiasts?
This is always dependent on the people, right? Because wherever you are on this world, you have to meet the right people. You have to meet people who you like, where you think there is a really interesting exchange. So I think that's the most important, is to stay in touch and to work together on projects, and to have that intellectual exchange and very intelligent exchange. And I think that's what is needed to be successful.
What is your expectation of your trip to Beijing this time?
Well, our hope is that with our exhibition we can contribute something in part new to the design discussion here in China, to open probably to a wider public the theme of design in terms of, as I said before, sustainable design, in terms of individualized design, in terms of low-cost design. So that also the Chinese people take that as an input and take it as one step which they probably can use for a second step.